Prague in the Czech Republic. It is time to go racing then. Drivers are lined up on the grid here at Dragon Trail Seaside. Who will be claiming the checkered flag though in 32 laps time? Well, Takuma Miyazono did it a few weeks ago in Montreal. Can he make it? 2 wins from 2 rounds here tonight. Valerio Gallo also joins him on the front row of the grid. Row 2 is headed by Takuma Sasaki. Alongside him is Callum Roach, 4th place for the American driver. Next up, Guy Barbara, all the way from down under in Australia. And he has got kind of room for company, the Dutchman. Next up, Adriano Carrazza, but in the war so far tonight, and he right the wrongs. Jose Serrano, former and also reigning champion, lines up 8th position with Angel Stroza, P9 on the grid. 10th place will be Killian Drumont. He needs a good race to get his points tally off the ground. Robbie Heck lines up P11. And then completing the grid is another former and also reigning champion, part of the Team Spain outfit that won it last year, Coque Lopez. Now, interestingly here, Jimmy, drivers going on the medium tyres, all but Coque Lopez down in 12th.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Coque Lopez, now you've just got to make something happen because you're in P12, you've got 11 of the fastest Gran Turismo drivers in front of you. The only way you're going to pass them easily is with that tyre advantage, but we know the start of his races, being on that soft tyre maybe isn't the best choice. If you have traffic ahead of you, you end up burning up and not getting the best life out of that tyre. We'll see what happens.
A plethora of medium tyres then to start this race. The only outlier is the man you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. That is Coque Lopez. He's going to make a sharp ascension through the field as it's all bunched up. But how far will he be able to go? And of course, he's going to be on the medium tyres later on when everybody else, in theory, will probably be on the soft compounds. Will that hurt his charge? We'll find out in 32 laps time. Who is going to take the checkered flag? And crucially, who will be leading the championship as we head into Tokyo later on this year for the Gran Turismo World Series? The Nations Cup Grand Final here in Prague is underway. Takuma Miyazono leads the field across the timing line from Valerio Gallo, from Takuma Sasaki as we come through into turn 1 and then turn 2. This is the real heavy braking zone. Is anybody going to think about a lunge? Gallo has a half look there to the inside. The field relatively spread out, but of course a big braking zone there does present opportunities that it may not at other circuits for some drivers. All pretty clean through the first couple of corners. Miyazono it is that still holds on to the lead.
Yeah, nice getaway there from Miyazono. Exactly what he would have wanted here at the start of the race. Lopez making up a couple of places up to P10 using that soft tyre as we said he would. So Miyazono, Gallo, Sasaki, Roach, Barbara, Kai de Bruyne make your top 6 as we go down to the first big overtaking spot of the lap. Now they're up to speed. The first hairpin. Is anyone close enough for a move? Will anyone chance it on this medium compound tyre? No one astern so far. As I say that, Guy Barbara has a bit of a half look. Guy Barbara, I've got to say, driving very well recently, putting himself on the top of this order and being in the top 5. But of course, long race to go here. Lots of strategy to go as you go through the chicane for the first time. Makes you wince every time going through the so close towards the Guy Barbara moves up into 4th place past Callum Roach.
Yeah, I think Roach made a mistake. That's put him under pressure from Kai de Bruyne. Also, de Bruyne moving up a couple of places then. So Serrano and Inestrosa under investigation for a collision on this opening lap. Meanwhile, Coque Lopez going up the field like a rat through a drain pipe as he goes up into 8th position. We're right on board here with Barbara. Slight lift on the throttle there as we head through this fast right-hander. Sasaki trying to challenge Miyazono, looking for the outside line there. The top 2 going defensive. Sasaki, it is. Oh, big wiggle on a wobble as Gallo runs runs wide, Miyazono goes through, and now Sasaki, it's all kicking off in the mid-pack here. We go through into the right-hander, Miyazono is that leads, Gallo in second, and now Roach back up into third place with Sasaki, De Bruyn and Karatza all in tow.
The thing is, all these guys fighting on that medium compound tyre, this is basically for position. There's no tyre deficit, it's just a straight race at this point. Guy Barbara, as you say, getting shuffled down. Look back from Valerio Gallo, now under attack from Sasaki and Callum Roach back in. Kind of pushing the American along. Sasaki looking to the inside for a move, maybe defended, maybe a little bit late there. By the back, who is that? It's Guy Barbara. He's round, off goes the Serrano as well, off into the barrier there. What happened to Guy Barbara?
Oh, dearie me, it was inevitable that something was going to kick off. Look at this, you can't go 2x2 through that chicane either. Oh, I thought Gallo was going to end up in the wall at one point there, but somehow he managed to avoid it. Look at this, De Bruyn versus Karatza. They go side by side through into the final corner. Heck versus Roach further back there as well. De Bruyn now up into third. Karatza relegated down to fourth.
Yeah, I mean, that was just chaos through there, wasn't it? Miyazono, through all of that, has gained a little bit of a gap. We'll see, it's Coque Lopez and Guy Barbara involved in that, so we'll see what the stewards make of that. Gallo now, of course, down to fifth place. It always seems to happen to Valerio. Goes for a very strong move there on Adriano Karatza. Karatza lets it happen. Gallo back up to fourth place and just blocking a little bit next to there. Nice to see that. Bit slow on the throttle. Halt the charge of Karatza behind, looking for the switchback. Heck, though, looking up the inside as well. What a drive from Robbie Heck so far. Up to P5 is the American.
Audacious lunge through into the right-hander there. Oh, Heck goes round! Contact there with Adriano Karatza, I think it was. And Heck, well, we were just singing his praises. The commentator's curse, sadly, is alive and well. And Robbie right down to the bottom of the pile there and thereabouts into 10th position. Now here's Kai De Bruyn on the back of Takuma Sasaki. So it's a Japanese 1-2 with Miyazono heading his compatriot. Through that right-handed hairpin we go into the chicane. It's all kicking off further behind. This will be music to the ears of Coque Lopez. Now what happened here with Guy Barbara and Lopez? Into the braking zone we go. Barbara there on the left-hand side. Oh, he moved over. And Lopez nowhere to go. Not Lopez's fault at all.
He wasn't looking at his mirrors, was he? He was going for the move in the car in front, and there you go. Yeah, I mean, that's an easy slam dunk penalty there. But meanwhile, Kai De Bruyn up to second place. Now, I spoke to the Dutchman before we started this show tonight, and he was saying that I love this car. This is my car, this is my track, and he's up 4 positions from his qualifying slot, and now looking to chase down Takuma Miyazono. Is someone looking to challenge Takuma Miyazono? Kai De Bruyn, relative newcomer to the Gran Turismo World Series. Still had a few events since what he's doing. And Coque Lopez, of course, also worth mentioning, that soft tyre has come up from the back of the grid up to P4. But, of course, we'll have to go into a slower tyre a bit later on. But a good charge so far from the Spaniards. Is this indicative of what's to come?
Well, Coque Lopez making hay whilst the sun shines. He needs to do that. He needs to try and now build out a gap. He needs to stop fighting with Gallo, Roach, etc. All who are very close behind. You can see Gallo there going to the defensive line with Roach. Looking to the outside. That may present an opportunity for him, and also maybe for Inestrosa and Karatza, who are not too far adrift. But now Lopez needs to build out that buffer, close down the deficit to the top 3, and give himself a fighting chance of making the alternate strategy on the softer, faster compound of tyre to work. Look in the background, we're 3 abreast almost as we head into that final corner.
Boys, calm down. You have so long left there, and so that Roach has just lost a few places. I think maybe biffed wide. Inestrosa has a good run there. Meanwhile, Miyazono and Sasaki are now fighting over second place. Kai De Bruyn, what an amazing race he's had so far. He's just got some level of knowledge, and now Miyazono is starting to push back. He's starting to respond. I say that. He goes off onto the curb and loses a bit of time. Commentator's curse is alive and well today, Tom, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah. That's the second time that you've said something. The second time that something's gone wrong after you've mentioned it. Well, Kai De Bruyn then leading the race, 4 tenths of a second the advantage. You can see the advantage that Coque Lopez, though, has got on that softer compound of tyre as we come through there. Bit of a wiggle and a slide. This is the problem, though, with these very aerodynamic cars, is that dirty air can prove to be into effect. But look at that, he's got inside line now as Coque Lopez. He's got track position. It was a late lunge to the inside, but he's always going to have more grip under braking. Lopez is now through into third place. You can see there he's been racing motorbikes since he was 5 years old, so he's not a stranger to throwing his way into danger, and especially through that chicane, you can see that he's very committed indeed, and surely the race lead is a matter of when and not if for the Spaniards.
He was at the back of Sasaki there, who was so committed in that dive. But now watch this, look at this extra traction that soft tyre affords. We reckon it's about 0.2 of a lap faster around here than the medium, but I think actually, if anything, it's a bit faster than that. 0.5 of a second as Coco Lopez now bears down on Sasaki in front. Kai de Bruyne, of course, leading this race. On board now, great view here on board this X 2019, using those curves. See the exit there, just got bare drive of the exit on these soft tyres, lining up Sasaki. We've got the inside here. Next corner is a right-hander. No, Sasaki comes across. Will he go for the nose on the inside? He does. Strong move there from Coco Lopez, right on the curb on the inside, up into P2. Goes a Spaniard from the back of the grid.
Not messing about, is Coco Lopez. That was a decisive lunge to the inside, a very committed part of the track. So much more grip he's got under braking. Of course, the caveat to that is on the soft tyre, they're going to wear out faster. So he'll come into the pits sooner. He needs to get himself into the lead, try and build out a buffer to make that strategy work. The medium shod runners, their race will come to them a little bit later on. De Bruyne, though, it is that leads. Through the hairpin we go. Helicopter overhead tracking these drivers as we flick it through the chicane. 13, 14, then into 15 and 16. One mistake can cost you very dearly indeed. Lopez there closing up onto the back of De Bruyne. When's he going to think about making that move? He needs to do it pretty soon.
Have we ever seen anyone come from the back and overtake the field in any of these events? I don't think we have, even with a tyre advantage. We've never seen it before. This is an absolutely amazing drive by Coco Lopez. So he's in the wheel tracks now of Kai de Bruyne. We're looking back from that rear wing of the Dutch drivers X 2019. Here comes Coco Lopez. Will he go for a move in the T1? No, not quite close enough, but I've got a feeling now, coming up to this next hairpin, he'll have a look. Still looking back from Kai de Bruyne. Can Coco Lopez go from last to first here at Prague in the grand final? Not quite close enough now.
I wonder, I was just about to say, his tyres, they're going to be a little bit more worn now. This is the problem, is that they're great for 6 to 7 laps or so, but coming to sort of lap 8, 9, 10, they're going to start getting a bit worn, and that's the problem, is that performance advantage he had is going to be wearing pretty thin. You can already see his rears down to 40% relative to the medium shot runners around him, and now it leaves him under attack quite possibly here from Sasaki and Miyazono.
Maybe he's starting to feel that a bit now, because he would have went for that move a lap ago. He didn't go for that dive this time. I was saying to him, I think he's going to do it. Didn't quite do it there. And Kai de Bruyne did a good job of holding on here. Kai, of course, up for 5 places from his starting position. Coco plus 10.
The problem here for Sasaki and Miyazono is that now Kai de Bruyne's in front. If Lopez ends up being the cork in the bottle, so to speak, that allows de Bruyne to just clear off into the distance if Lopez starts holding them up as his tyres go off. Let's wait and see what happens.
This has got to be it now. Look how close they all are. First, second, third and fourth, De Bruyne, Lopez, Sasaki and Miyazono all across the line in quick succession. Here they are then, Coco Lopez, much faster than the last lap now, has the overspeed, goes up into the lead. Last to first challenge completed by Coco Lopez here at the Nations Cup Grand Final at Prague. Can he now hold on? Can he pull away from his pack? That is the thing now he needs to do. He's got a little bit of tyre life left. Not much, but I think if he can just extend a couple of laps, make a little bit of a gap, go onto the medium compound tyre and defend, he's pretty much repaired the damage he didn't qualify.
So what Lopez needs now is De Bruyne, Sasaki and Miyazono to start roughing each other up. But that moment there for Lopez has put him under pressure and under threat. You can see now De Bruyne is right in his wheel tracks. He pulls out of the slipstream as we head down into the hairpin bend, and De Bruyne is trying to get that buffer between himself and the other drivers who are on the same strategy. Sasaki biffs it into the back there. De Bruyne has to back out of the throttle. Lopez versus De Bruyne side by side. Lopez now back in front into the lead of the race there.
Looks like he spun the tyres or something. He just didn't get out of the corner. He just couldn't quite get that traction down. Ended up holding up Sasaki behind. De Bruyne now drops down to third place as Miyazono, of course, old hand around here, just sees the opportunity. I'll take that, thank you very much. And Coco Lopez opting to box then. Boxing for Coco Lopez at the end of lap 8. Will he go on to another set of softs, or will he go to a medium compounder tyre? Let's see.
Tell you who this has brought right back into the fray now here, Jimmy, as well, is Valerio Gallo, Angel Stroza and Adriano Carazza. They've closed right up, courtesy of the fact they've all been squabbling amongst one another. It's pulled them back into that gap. So the battle for the podium becomes almost a 5-way scrap. Medium tyres then for Lopez as he exits out of the pit lane. So he'll be a little bit slower, but of course those tyres will go on for a little bit longer. So he now drops behind Guy Barbara, who, as we know, has been out of sequence courtesy of the crash and the contact that he had with Lopez a handful of laps ago.
But being behind Guy Barbara now, if he can clear him, he's got a 5-second gap to drive into. He's got that fresh tyre, and she better drive into that, and that this could keep in line Coco Lopez. He's going to be a contender later on in this race. Meanwhile, again, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th all in your frame right now as we dive down to the hairpin. Once again, Gallo leading in Stroza and Carazza. Stroza looking for the long way around on Valerio Gallo. Can he make it work? No, not quite. Gallo just beats him to the exit there, but these guys are going at it like it's the last laps of the race.
We were side by side almost with Sasaki and De Bruyne just up in front of those two as well as we headed through the chicane. They've just managed to sort themselves out. But the thing is, if these guys keep squabbling amongst one another, it will pull them back again from that podium battle. And Estrosa looks to the outside here of Valerio Gallo. Gallo's going to run him a little bit deep, possibly open the door here for Adriano Corazza. No way through for there, but look at the top three. They are now all in the same frame, and it's gone from being a three-way battle, as I said earlier on, to a seven-way battle for the podium positions then. And these guys are all on the same strategy. De Bruyne pulls to the outside of Miyazono. Late on the brakes we go. Inestrosa looking for a move on Gallo. No way through there. Could leave him under threat once again from Adriano Corazza. Miyazono and De Bruyne part 382 as we head down in towards this right-hander. Miyazono looks for the move on the inside defence. Here comes De Bruyne. Says thanks very much and goes up into second place. Bit of contact in hip and shoulder between Inestrosa and Gallo. Drops Gallo now down behind Adriano Corazza as well.
What an amazing race so far. We have 8 cars right now squabbling for the lead, 10 laps into the grand final here at Prague. At the moment, Sasaki leads from De Bruyne and Miyazono, but these guys behind looking to make an impression. Ango and Inestrosa diving up the inside of Takuma Miyazono, makes a move. Inestrosa, who's been a bit anonymous, I say so far, now up into a podium position. Miyazono fourth, behind him is Gallo and Callum Roach. Corazza there too, and Drummond. Look how close all these guys are, and we still have 22 laps to go for the lead. Kai de Bruyne up the inside, takes Sasaki back into the lead, goes the Dutch driver. It's action all the way so far.
This is a corker of a race, isn't it? As you said, JP. Out of the final corner we go then. De Bruyne leads from Takuma Sasaki. Inestrosa is about 6/10 of a second adrift of them across the timing line, but it only takes a couple of corners and a couple of spicy moves between these two to bring them right back into play then. Into the chicane we go. De Bruyne in the instant leads. There's Inestrosa. Gallo with Miyazono very close behind. Let's not forget, a lap or so ago, Miyazono was in the lead of this race. He's now down into 5th position. Blink and you'll miss it stuff here in the Nations Cup Grand Final. Through the hairpin we go. I'd love to have another look at the tyre life actually for these drivers as well and see just how worn they are, if anybody's significantly more worn than others, because that could prove to be the difference. Or the thing is as well to think about, they're all running nose to tail at the moment. Is someone going to go for an undercut and try and play a bit of a blinder here, get themselves out into clear air, and then hopefully the race will come to them a bit later?
Interesting you say that, Tom, because I'm looking at the lap times right now. Coco Lopez, who boxed earlier on, did a 16.0 last lap. These guys are all doing high to mid-17s. So Coco Lopez, the fastest man on track right now, is down the field, but before long, he'll be on the back of this massive pack of cars. So, find me a series in the world where the racing is as close as this. Here comes Sasaki up the inside once again. Now, I think they're getting to the point now where they're just letting it happen. De Bruyne pulls to the right. Inestrosa, I think, is pitting. Inestrosa pits.
Yeah,
first to blink.
Yeah, so he is the first to blink. He's going to go for that undercut then. Where's he going to go in terms of his strategy? Does he go for mediums? Does he go for soft? Surely it'll be a soft strategy to the end of this one. He'll need another pit stop, and he does. Yeah, absolutely no surprise there at all for Angel Inestrosa. The crucial question is, where's he going to emerge? Is he going to be in clear air, or is he going to be in traffic? Comes out. Oh, it's not brilliant for him because he's got Drummond and Serrano right up in front of him, and they're involved in their own battle in their own race.
The more that happened, Kai de Bruyne back to lead, and Valerio Gallo back up into third place. Kai de Bruyne there, sideways, gets the wheels lit up coming out of the hairpin. That allows Sasaki back onto the rear spoiler of the Netherlands flags draped X2019. Here's Takuma Miyazono having to lift the throttle. Look at the overrun he's got now. He's side by side with Valerio Gallo. They're all going for the move down here. Kai de Bruyne goes defensive into the right-hander. 3 wide then as we go through. Gallo on the inside there. 2x2. This is not going to end well, boys. Till we're out. Coming through to the chicane now. Who's going to blink first? Kai just about gets back into line again. Oh, this ain't going to end well.
This is fantastic, isn't it? So 2 Japanese drivers first and third at the moment, but for how long? Gallo there looking for the move. Miyazono also in the mix. 3 abreast we go once again down into the hairpin bend. So De Bruyne on the inside, Miyazono on the outside. Sasaki's there ready to go as well. De Bruyne comes into the pit lane as well as Adriano Corazza. So they're going to go and get themselves out of trouble and decide to let the other drivers squabble amongst themselves. Fair point, because it's going to cost them all time if they're knocking 7 bells on one another. And if they can get themselves into clear air once they've made their pit stops, it could prove to be beneficial. Just to correct myself earlier on, it's Lopez and Barbara that Inestrosa emerged from behind. So let's see where the other drivers are relative to Angel Inestrosa. So De Bruyne out of the pit lane and Corazza as well, and they are behind Angel Inestrosa. So that lap where these guys have all been fighting amongst one another, that's cost them track position.
Hey, how good's this been so far? This has been amazing, hasn't it? And we've still got fighting going on. Some people are pitted, but still 5 cars in contention there. You can see the tyre life of the cars remaining on circuit. Those rear tyres starting to become an issue for some drivers. Keep an eye out for Wilson, keep an eye out for the tail coming out throughout corners. Gallo now fighting with Mierzona. How many times have you said that in past events? Has become to chicane once more. Great drive so far from Callum Roach, the American driver. He's right in the mix there. Anyone with about 9 drivers could win this race at the moment, I think.
Yeah, he's having a cracker, isn't he, Callum Roach? This is brilliant for him, as you say. Robbie Heck also not doing too badly in 6th position. He's not quite involved in this leading group, but nonetheless still up inside the top 6 at the moment. If the checkered flag fell now, he would score a point.
You know who's been the fastest man on track for the last few laps?
Would it be Coque Lopez?
It's Coque Lopez by quite a bit. So Coque Lopez, his race is coming back alive. Heck decides to box then for that a fresh set of tyres. Roach goes up into 4th place, overtaking Killian Jones. So that's where he was before. Apologies. But Mierzona and Gallo, I think they're starting to think, right, okay, guys, we've got to really just focus a bit now. All this fighting, as you said before, all this changing of position, all this squabbling going to corners. It's great TV. We want to see more of it, but of course it does actually harm their races in the long run.
Look what it's done for Lopez as well now with the pit stop there for Robbie Heck, because that's given him from 5 seconds to now a 7-second buffer, which he can just go and clear off and drive his own race. This is working out really nicely here for Coque Lopez. Let's see how it works out later on in the race. We're getting towards the halfway stages of this one. Not quite there as it stands now. These guys have sort of quietened down a little bit now at the top.
Well, think, Coque Lopez is 7 seconds off these guys, and he's made a pit stop. These guys have not made a stop. That is the time he's made up. So I think maybe they've cottoned onto this, and okay, we're actually now at threat from Coque Lopez. What a story that would be, eh? Starting from the back of the field and working his way back up, just using those years of experience, those years of knowledge. That is why Coque Lopez, you can never count him out at these events. Still on board with Killian Dumont. Will we see some more from the pit? We do. Gallo, Roach and Mierzona, or Sasaki opting to stay out though. Will this hurt him?
Let's see what happens then for Takuma Sasaki. He's the only outlier. Everybody else, as you said, into the box. Dumont also in as well. Lopez is now going to think Christmas has come early, because he's going to have a nice, fresh, clear bit of track in front of him as the rest of the field comes barreling on through. You can see what that's cost Takuma Mierzona as well. Now, where is Serrano? He's just sort of in the middle of this group at the moment. You can see him right on the back there of Valerio Gallo. So Mierzona with, what, 2.1 seconds to Adriano Carrazza. It's working out all right for them so far, but look at that there for Coque Lopez. The only problem he's going to face is this man here, Anthony Estrada, who's on a quicker compound of tyre.
Oh, contact between the two. Estrada wasting no time. There's more contact. Estrada in the wall. Tries to go around the outside. I don't really know what he was thinking there. There was never going to be a move on there for Angel and Estrada. Just looked, and I don't know. I mean, from my point of view, there was no space for that move to happen.
It's always going to be a case of the unstoppable force of the immovable object in some cases for these drivers, isn't it? And unfortunately there for Angel Estrada, it's not worked out at all for him. He's now right at the back of the field. Again, it is good news though for Coque Lopez. I need to see a replay of that just to work out exactly what happened there. But as you say, Coque Lopez now clear off. Well, Takuma Sasaki's played over 6,000 hours of Gran Turismo. Good news for him. He's got 7 seconds of an advantage over Lopez.
Is that what 6,000 hours is worth? 7 seconds. Here's a replay then. What happened between Coque Lopez and Angel Estrada? Now, from my view, Estrada tried to force a gap where there wasn't one. He's not quite alongside there. Coque Lopez goes through the corner, has a wiggle and touches him. I just don't know. I mean, you're putting yourself in a position where it's going to be very risky out there, Tom.
I think it's 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other, isn't it? Like you say, you're always a bit risk when you're going on the outside of a corner. A moment like that, it's not Coque Lopez's fault. If you have a twitch on the rear, you have a twitch on the rear. There's nothing you can do about it. If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time as the driver trying to overtake, it's unfortunate, but I don't think it's penalty worthy. We'll wait and see what the stewards decide. We haven't seen this under investigation, so they may just deem it as a racing incident. That would be my take on it, but we'll wait and see what they can see with all of their different camera angles.
I mean, I do hope not, because the Coque Lopez story is fantastic, and I do genuinely think it's just one of those things. But as you say, we'll wait for the stewards. They know better than we do, and we'll just rejoin the fight now. Alex Sasaki, interestingly, staying out a bit longer now. By staying out, that gap to Coque Lopez is coming down, and the gap to Coque Lopez is the gap minus a pit stop. So once everyone's boxed once, guess who's going to be leading this race?
Yeah, but also guess who's going to be on the slower compound of tyre at the end of this race. So I wonder how that's going to play out there for him.
I don't think he is. I think he's going to go long in the medium and go too soft for the end. That's what I think he's going to do.
Good point. Yeah. That is a very interesting strategy call then for Coque Lopez. And the problem he's got is kind of Bruno Carrazza. They're all there on the soft corner tyre, and they could really upset Coque Lopez's rhythm. Over the timeline we go. We're over the halfway stage now of this race. The Brun's going to surely have a lunge to the inside, and he does. Lopez deciding not to hold him up there.
This is so clever. Lopez is just looking for race time right now. He knows these guys are going to be quicker. There's no point fighting. There's no point doing what they all did to each other at the start of the race, slow each other up. If a move's being made, he'll just let it happen and then just try and stay with them for as long as possible. Use that draft. At any moment he's in the draft, he's getting basically free speed. He's getting 3 kilometers an hour that he wouldn't get before. So right now you can see him closing up on the back of Kyle de Bruin. I doubt very much he'll go for that overtake. We'll probably let Karatza go for the move. There you go, he gets out of the way. So this is just 8,000 IQ driving from Coque Lopez. I'm really curious as to whether this is going to pay off for them.
Well, yeah, let those two, as you say, in front, just go and biff it out amongst one another. The worst case scenario here for Coque Lopez is that Adriano Karatza decides to back off the gas and slow up Lopez so that they can run their own, run their own race, exactly. Or a mistake comes into play for Lopez, perhaps. But at the moment, he's driving absolutely perfectly, as you say. Sasaki is still lead. He's going long on this medium compact tyre. He's going to try and go to the soft compound as late as he possibly can to have as optimum tyre life. But the lap times between them, I mean, what's he, 1.5 seconds slower than the soft shot of Bruno and Karatz? Now they're hemorrhaging into that lead.
Yeah, it's really, they're really slowing down now. Sasaki needs to think about what he's doing. Karatz here practices 6 hours a day. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Practices what? It doesn't say.
Yeah, practices what? I think weightlifting. You seen the guy? He's massive.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, Karatza it is that sits in third place and who we ride on board with him into the hairpin bend. We go to Bruno, a little bit wide actually, onto the curb on the outside. That's okay. He doesn't need to worry too much about it for now, but it could leave him under threat as we head into the next big braking zone.
Now, Karatza has got a little bit of a reputation of being quite fighty, shall we say, in these GT World Series events. We'll do the same. Oh my word, guys, be careful going down to the tight right hand here. Kyle de Bruin keeps the inside line. Look who's just hanging on in the background there on his solo compounded tyre. Coque Lopez just getting a free ride.
Saving a bit of fuel as well, not doing too
Why
badly.
not?
Why not? Yeah.
But now look behind.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got Miyazono, we've got Gallo, Serrano, Roche, Dumont, all closing on this lead group. I'm probably wondering, how did Coque Lopez get here? What's he doing here?
So high up, he's got a nosebleed. Karatza lunges to the inside of Kyle de Bruin and gets the move done into second place. De Bruin now decides to sit in his wheel tracks. Is he going to try and attack? The problem for Coque Lopez here is that, as you say, Jimmy, Miyazono, Gallo, Serrano, etc., they're all very close behind. And whilst these two are starting to fight amongst one another, that could bring them all back into contention.
So to give you an idea, I mean, tyre life does play into this too. Sasaki, on his own, with a 17.4 there. Coque Lopez on the medium tyre with a 16.0, being dragged along by these guys. This is outstanding from Coque Lopez so far. I cannot overstate that enough. We've still got a long way to go. A lot can happen, but to put yourself in this position from last is amazing.
Like I said, the only problem is these guys behind, because they
of
can
course.
really upset his race and really upset his rhythm and his whole strategy. They could prove to be that one catalyst and the big headache that Coque Lopez might need a bit of paracetamol for later on in this race. Heading down into the hairpin bend we go. On board here with Takuma Miyazono, the shy retiring Japanese driver, a man of fairly modest words actually as a rule for Takuma Miyazono, but a very ferocious and tenacious racing driver.
Yeah, you couldn't meet a guy who's more different on track to how he is off track. As meanwhile, Coque Lopez again, see what he's just pulling out of the slipstream just to not come onto the back of him. But now, as you say, Tom, he's got Takuma Miyazono right on his rear wing. Not only him, he's got Gallo, he's got Serrano, Roach is there too. On board now with Takuma Miyazono. I don't think we're going to see Lopez fight this too much, or will he? Going in to T1, now T2, the first big break of lap. Does Miyazono go for the lunge? He does, big lunge at the inside, and following him through goes Valerio Gallo, although he tries to. Gallo gets then walked out wide by Coque Lopez, and this is what we were talking about. Lopez can't really hang with these guys right now. There's Serrano there as well, but at the moment now struggling for speed as Lopez.
He needs to not fight it too much. The problem for these guys as well is look at Takuma Sasaki. That gap shrunk down to 1 second. It's going to be a half a second or so within the next few quarters, because of course those medium tyres are going to be absolutely toast for Takuma Sasaki, and he's going to surely have to box before too long. So he's on a different strategy compared to the rest of them. Is he going to hold these guys up?
I think going for the one stop is very, very brave from Sasaki. I think if I was him now, I'd box now and take the risk, because we're going to lose so much time just being steamrolled by all these guys behind. They're going to have so much more pace than he is at this point. And for the chicane, look at them all now. The conversion back on first position. The top 9 drivers separated by less than a second and a half at this point. It is so close.
De Bruin there, inside line for him against Adriano Karatza. Sasaki's going to box. De Bruin is going to go in as well, so he wants another set of soft boots to end this race. So is De Bruin actually going to go onto the medium compounded tyre? Let's wait and see what his race is going to look like.
I think to soft. No, he goes to medium. So he's done medium, soft medium.
Which is an interesting strategy for Kai de Bruyne. Let's see whether that pays off, because he'll have a little bit more tyre life compared to the soft tyres at the end of this race. About 67 laps we saw for those soft tyres. So Sasaki's car will be crying in pain at the end of this race. De Bruyne will have less one-lap pace, but also more tyre life towards the end of that one. Could this prove to be a good strategy for Kai de Bruyne? We'll wait and see. What it has done is release that cork in the bottle for the rest of the drivers in front at the moment. Miozono now with a half-second advantage over Serrano and Gallo.
If I was Lopez, I think I'd box now. Get into the box now and just go that soft tyre and try and undercut these guys and just fight at the end, because there's not much more you can do. Valerio Gallo, again, despite I think being in every position apart from first so far, is now back again in third, chasing Serrano and Miozono. I mean, these top four drivers are just stalwarts of the GT World Series. Amazing to see them all together yet again. Will they go for a move down into the hairpin? No, they don't.
Just looking at the tyre life here for the medium shod drivers here, Jimmy. They were about 12, 13, 14 laps. You see Gallo there on the outside of Jose Serrano at the exit of the final corner and gets the move done up into second. About 13, 14 laps for those drivers. Coque Lopez, he's just done lap 13. So I imagine those medium tyres are not going to be feeling very handy underneath the Spaniard, and I'm sure he's going to have to come in and box for a set of fresh, soft boots to the end of this race, which will give him a pace advantage, but it will cost him track position.
Yeah, I think so too. But this has been an amazing race so far. Still 10 laps to go here from the grand final of the Round 2 Nations Cup here at Prague. We've had an amazing race so far. Still a third of it to go as Kai de Bruyne gets a bit of a slap in the wrist for bump drafting. Don't do that, tell the stewards. He says, OK, says Kai de Bruyne. As we come in now to the bottom half of this course. Amazing downhill braking zone. Good place for a move if you're close enough. Gallo not quite close enough to that right now.
Serrano, look at his tyres though. He was absolutely shot on the rear. He's done 2 laps longer than the likes of Gallo, than Miozono, etc. And his rears are going to be crying out in pain. I'm sure he's going to come into the pits at the end of this, or not the next lap. Otherwise, he's going to be a sitting duck. And the thing is, that then gives us a reference point for the other drivers who are on the soft compounded tyre towards the end of this one.
And we're still at a point where any of these drivers can win this race. It's so close. I mean, again, I've not seen a race this close in the Nations Cup for a very long time. Kylian Dumont, Serrano,
they're all boxing.
Mozart and Gallo, they all box. Roach does not. Interesting. Callum Roach opts to stay out there. The American driver maybe knowing something that we don't. So this is now the last stop. This is the last roll of the dice. You're showing your hand now. You're showing your pace. It's now a straight fight to the end for victory here in the grand final. Miozono at the pit lane. There goes Kai de Bruyne and Sasaki in front. So, Kai de Bruyne, though, of course, on that medium compounder tyre, actually ahead of Sasaki on that soft. So, Kai de Bruyne able to keep that pace up at the moment on the medium, but I don't think he's going to be able to compare to Miozono and Gallo. No, I don't think so at all.
No, well, the race will come to him at the end, as we said, but the problem is it leaves him a bit of a target on his back at the moment. So we'll see what happens here for Kai de Bruyne. He sits in 4th place for now, but the 1 lap pace is just not going to be there for him.
So the longest we've seen the soft runner do is 10 laps. And that we now 10 laps from the end. So this is perfect for Miozono, Gallo, etc. But the Kai de Bruyne, is the pace going to be enough? We'll wait and see. Gallo then on board down to the chicane. P7 now after the pit stop. Taking a slightly different line there from Miozono in front. A bit of a shorter line as we come through the chicane once again. What an amazing corner. Look at that throttle input there. Not even a hint of a lift from the Italian driver. So much aerodynamic grip in these Red Bull X 2019 cars, coupled with that awesome engine. Lots of power, lots of grip. Can't think of a better combination.
Top 2 in the pit lane then. So Roach and also crucially Coque Lopez into the box. So soft tyres for both of those drivers. Guy Barbara also going into the box as well. Lopez and Carrazza under investigation for a collision. We didn't see exactly what happened there, I don't think, but we'll keep an eye out and see whether there are any penalties being handed out. Sasaki versus Miozono, side by side we go into the chicane. Miozono with the inside line. Gallo's going to try and pick Sasaki's pocket here as well, as he's run to the curb on the outside. 3 abreast as we come down into the right-hander. Bit of hip and shoulder there between Miozono and Sasaki, who gets again run out onto the curb. Does that present the opportunity that Serrano's looking for? No, not quite for now. So De Bruyne it is that leads the way, and at the moment he's the train, or the leader of the train I should say, but is it going to be derailed? Because Gallo, Miozono, Sasaki all on a very quick compound tyre, and it's a matter of when and not if. Here we go, Gallo side by side with him, down the back straight. He's going to have more traction under braking, more grip under braking. Miozono's going to lunge to the inside. That's going to upset Gallo's opportunity and relegates him down into 3rd place. Miozono's through on the inside. Serrano's going to try and join in on the action there as well. De Bruyne's going to get really hung out to dry here quite potentially, but no, manages to gather it all up as we come down this back straight through the tunnel. Side by side we go, De Bruyne versus Miozono. Gallo's there ready on the inside as well as Jose Serrano. Serrano. Miozono lunges finally for the race lead. De Bruyne relegated down into second. Side by side we are with Serrano versus Drummond for fourth position there as well. And we come across the timeline. De Bruyne tries to take the lead away from Takuma Miozono, and look who's following him in his slipstream. Valerio Gallo, 3 wide, once again into the braking zone. Who's going to have track position? De Bruyne lunges to the inside. Does he get the move done? Side by side we go with Miozono. Here comes Gallo through, 2 for the price of 1. Fantastic for Valerio Gallo, and Serrano coming through on the inside as well.
All right, it's all going on here in the final. My word, Gallo there and Miozono. Miozono had a great move down the bottom half of the circuit, took 2 for 1. Gallo repaid that favour into T3 there. Amazing racing from these guys, keeping it clean, keeping it quick, and in that kind of Bruyne still holding on that medium tyre for P3. But Gallo and Miozono, it's a fist fight between these two now. Both want to lead, both want to try and put a gap in front. Behind there, Serrano goes through from De Bruyne. De Bruyne forces his way up the inside, past everyone, up into first place. I think that was clean as well. Somehow got the car stopped and is still there fighting with the guys in the soft tyres, and he has to do that. He has to, because he's on that medium compound tyre. He needs to slow up his guys as much as possible, and they're still squabbling. Kai De Bruyne, Serrano looking to the outside, looking all the way around the outside. Can he make that stick? He does. Serrano, what a move all the way around Kai De Bruyne, and it's still going on, John.
Look who's at the back of the train. Coque Lopez, fresh and soft compound of tyres right at the end of this race. It's going to set him up an absolute treat. Side by side we go, 3 wide. Once again, Serrano on the inside, Gallo in the middle, De Bruyne on the outside. He won't have as much grip, but lunges his way through as Gallo runs it wide. On the exit of the curve goes De Bruyne. Goodness me, this is absolutely amazing racing. Serrano's got the inside line. De Bruyne's on the outside then as they go through this right-hander. He's going to get roughed up onto the curb, is the Dutchman here, and that may allow Gallo to come through. Down the hill we go, through the left-hander. 2x2 through here is risky, as we know. Gallo decides discretion is the better part of valour and slots himself back through to third place. Keep an eye out for Drummond and Miozono in the background as well. De Bruyne is driving an absolute worldie at the moment. Down into the braking zone we go, 4 abreast as we head through. Serrano's on the inside, he's through into the lead. Gallo's into second, Drummond now through into third, with Miozono in fourth, and De Bruyne relegated down into fifth place. But look who's up into sixth position, Coque Lopez. Fresh soft tyres, he is in a prime position to win this race.
Oh, something's got to give at some point, Tom. These guys are going at it like it's the last lap. There are still 6 laps to go. Serrano inside, Gallo in the middle, Drummond trying to now make his way around the outside. The Frenchman now starting to move up towards the front of the grid. Coque Lopez is in P4 on that soft tyre from the back of the grid, and now we go on to lap 27. There is barely a second covering all these cars on screen right now. They're 2-3 wide into the first chicane. Drummond is second. There's contact. Serrano's off into the barrier. We said something have to give there. I think that was contact between Drummond in the barrier. That's Suzuki and Miozono.
Yeah,
oh my word!
The 2 Japanese drivers have come to blows. Oh, there's Serrano doing a 52-point turn to get himself facing the right way. Karatta's going to come through. It was always going to kick off, wasn't it? It couldn't continue like that. It's just not sustainable racing in that sort of direction. And now it's gone from a 7-way scrap down to a 3-way scrap. And here's Lopez now on the back of Valerio Gallo for second position. He's going to have more grip under braking. Does he make it into the hairpin? Not quite for now, but he's there, ready to bounce.
We keep saying that Lopez started off in the back of the grid. Drummond started 10th. Here's the replay. Let's try and unpack what happened here. A lot went on very quickly. So here's Serrano. Drummond on the outside here. Turns into the corner. There is contact there, but it's not. And then more again from Kai De Bruyne. That was a difficult one now. I don't know. I mean, Drummond definitely drove into the back of Serrano, but could you wager it was a bit of a weird line from Serrano?
Well, look, it's under investigation. Let's see what the stewards team. I'll tell you the big losers in that, Callum Roach, and also, to a point, Kai De Bruyne as well. He got duffed up in the action there as well. So what are we now? 4 laps to go. Drummond, Gallo, Lopez for the win. Just a reminder, Drummond hasn't scored in the Nations Cup up until this point, and he threw the victory away a few weeks ago in Montreal.
So grid position, Drummond +9. Gallo, where he started, Coque Lopez +9. Robbie Heck +7. This has been an amazing strategic race from the top 4 runners. Can Coque Lopez do something that has never happened here in the Nations Cup? Can Coque Lopez go from last to first and take the win here at Prague in the grand final? Still a few laps left to decide this. Gallo, I think Gallo's someone who's been the bridesmaid very often in these events, never the bride, so to speak. So can he change that here today? Through the chicane one more time. The pressure will be a little bit off now for these guys because a lot of the train has unfortunately derailed, as so to speak. But now it's Dumont, Gallo and Lopez. Any one of these drivers can win this race. All of these drivers know how to win a race. It's going to be an insane finish, and only a few laps to go here at Dragon Trail.
Well, who is going to be able to soak up the pressure like a sponge, and who is going to end up like a bit of a damp squib? Let's see what happens. Over the timeline we go. 3 to go then. Coque Lopez will ride on board with the Spaniard, looking calm, controlled and cool as it stands. There is Valerio Gallo and Kilian Drumont. As we head through the chicane, just biding his time now is Coque Lopez, trying to make too many mistakes. This guy Barbara just moves ahead of Kai de Bruyne, 4th position. That medium tyre has not worked out for de Bruyne in the latter stage of this one. Of course, not aided by the incident we saw with Serrano and Drumont a couple of laps ago.
It worked until it didn't, I think is the way it's done. I think he could have really been a good contender at the end of this race, but I mean, it just took the slightest bit. These guys were racing so close. It's almost like watching stock car racing, except around a circuit with cars with a ton of air on. But the racing's still underway. Now, I get the impression that Gallo and Lopez are just sort of waiting. Now, neither of them want to lead to the last lap.
No further action between Serrano and Drumont. Racing incident. You're calling it all right today, Jimmy. You've got the lottery numbers for next
week. I mean, sometimes you've got to be right. I mean, it's once in a millennium, but I'll take it.
So Gallo there sits behind Drumont, not quite as wide of a line through there. You can see Lopez just not wanting to sit in the slipstream. As you said, Jimmy, he's biding his time. He doesn't want to pounce too early because, let's be fair, it's like a game of poker, this one. You don't show your hand quite too soon until you know that the other competitors are ready to try and show theirs.
You want to take a guess who has the best tyres up through?
I would wager a guess that it's Coque Lopez.
It is Coque Lopez.
This was last the pit, wasn't he, of course?
This is just experience. This is what experience looks like. And we say here in the Gran Turismo World Series that speed will only get you so far. Experience pushes you over the top. So we have 2 laps left to run. Well, at the end of this one anyway. Drumont at the front, Gallo second, Lopez third, covered by only 6/10 of a second. Robbie Heck, though, on for a good result in P4. Kai de Bruyne recovering. Guy Barbara, after his incident at the start of the race, is up to P6. Miyazono also trying to come back through the field. Now, these guys are the closest they've ever been. Will Gallo go from up the inside? Is this him making his move? Gallo up into the lead, past Kilian Drumont. Maybe now this is it. This is the breakaway. Valerio Gallo is stating his intent. He wants to win this race. Off he goes up front. Drumont now is second. Lopez will have seen this. Will we now see a reaction?
Look at the tyres there. 10% more on the rear for Coque Lopez. Doesn't sound like a lot. It's going to make a massive difference in the closing stage of this one. Drumont, interestingly, got the worst tyres compared to all of these top 3. Miyazono gets the better of Guy Barbara. That's crucial for him because that's a point on the board in the World Series standings. Top 6 scoring points in this one, just to remind you. Across the timing line we go. Penultimate lap then we begin here, and Drumont goes defensive. Lopez going for that sweeping line around the outside as he lunged through into the chicane. Not for now.
He needs to, I think this is getting towards the point now where it's time to make your moves, time to show your hand to the drivers around you. Coque Lopez did that to avoid the slipstream, so he could keep it flat and just keep it going from there. Here comes Gallo, here comes Drumont, here comes Lopez. What a race this has been so far. We are rapidly reaching the conclusion of the Nations Cup Grand Final here at Prague, and here are your contenders. We have Valerio Gallo, Kilian Drumont and Coque Lopez. 3 names you'll be familiar with if you watch these live events often. As we go down now again to the best ever taken spot on the course. Drumont goes round the outside. Can he make it work? I'm not sure. Gallo defending, he'll have the run round. Drumont will have the speed. Here comes Coque Lopez too. Gallo just about keeping the lead, and Lopez goes up by through past Drumont. So it's Gallo, Lopez, Drumont now as we come round to start the final lap of this race.
Well, we've been watching the pot for the last 5 or 6 laps, and it's now starting to finally boil as we ride on board. Drumont there in 3rd position. Lopez and Gallo up at the sharp end of this one. Former champions in the top 2 positions, let's remind you, as we begin the final lap of racing here in Prague for World Series in Gran Turismo in the Nations Cup. Down the start-finish straight we go, through the fast right-handed kink of turn 1, into the braking zone of turn 2. Lopez has a half look on Gallo, but no room at the end.
Yeah, no way he's going to let that happen. So now it's really one more overtaking opportunity, maybe two more for this lap, and Coco Lopez needs to set that up if he wants to win this race. Dumont there, just biding his time behind, I think. Gallo leads then as we come through the end of the first sector, down through this snaking section. This is where you get a bit of a draft. This is where you try and set up the move down the hill. Now will Gallo try and back Lopez up into this downhill right-hander? Through the stake we go then. Lopez deep in the draft, gaining on Gallo in front. Looks to the inside. Gallo going defensive straight away, trying to break that toe. Very experienced driving the both of them. Will he ever move down here into the bottom? He does not know. So it's all now down to one corner, Tom.
Yeah, the chicane is going to be the decider for this one. Who's going to be more committed? Will we see any mistakes coming through? Bit of a slip and a slide there for Valerio Gallo. Through the chicane we go. Nose to tail action between the top three. Any one of them could win this one. Nice and easy for them all so far. Surely Lopez is going to have a lunge. Gallo goes defensive. Side by side we go for the race victory into the final corner. Here comes Dumont back through on the inside of Coco Lopez, sliding his way through, and Contactus Lopez gets spun round by Kylian Dumont. Gallo wins the Nations Cup Grand Final here in Prague from Kylian Dumont, and Coco Lopez in third ahead of Robbie Heck and Kai de Bruyne. What a final couple of corners, and it was always going to be a watch pot that we had to boil, and unfortunately it boiled over for Coco Lopez.
Look how much that means to Valerio Gallo. He's been trying to win a Nations Cup event here for so long. Finally takes a victory. Coco Lopez just holding on for P3 there. Look how much that means to Valerio Gallo. You love to see that. That's how much dedication goes into the events, how much pressure these drivers feel when you cross the line and finally it's unleashed. What a race. Best race you've seen, I think, ever in the Gran Turismo World Series.
Amazing job from Valerio Gallo, from Kylian Dumont and for Coco Lopez. And you can see the outpouring of emotion there for Valerio Gallo. It hasn't been a particularly easy couple of seasons. He won the Nations Cup back in 2021, if you remember, and it's been a bit of a lean period since then. He's been there and thereabouts, but he's suffered a lot of misfortune along the way. He's been practicing day and night, hours and hours of practice to get himself up to this point, and finally he is able to reap the rewards of that one and the outpouring of